Hey, hey, welcome back. Together, connect, create. I'm your host, Megan Schultz, and this is the podcast where week after week, I am hoping to bring you just tiny little ideas for ways that you can gather, connect, or create with your people wherever you find yourself. I am so glad you are here with me and a part of this community that is growing. Welcome if you're new here. And just a reminder, in the true spirit of what I'm trying to do with this podcast, I love connecting with listeners. So if there is something that speaks to you or that you try from one of these episodes, I would love to hear about it. Drop me an email or shoot me a text, both of which can be found in the show notes. And let's stay connected. Listeners, today on the podcast, I am excited to introduce you, or reintroduce you, I should say, to some old friends in Milwaukee. But I do want to say that one of the things I love about this iteration of the podcast is that it expands the reach of what I can talk about. And so while these women are based in Milwaukee, this is going to be a conversation about something that you could try in your neck of the woods. And in fact, interestingly, this week I got an email from a listener over in the UK. Hello, Alexis, saying, the Cream City Dreams episodes weren't so relevant to her because she couldn't go out and try the experiences that I was talking about or meet the women, right, in Milwaukee. But she said, everyone is looking for ways to connect now. So your pod is very timely and I'll be listening. So I hope that if you're not in Milwaukee, you're still listening. I know there are some new listeners, so welcome. And I hope that these episodes plant some seeds for things that you might be able to try in your community after hearing how they're done here. Today on the podcast, I am talking with Rebecca Jankowski and Theresa Kopak of Interwovxn, which is a really beautiful community for women in midlife and women before midlife and beyond midlife, but really focusing on all things that come in the middle for women. They send out weekly newsletters that are beautiful, almost pieces of art in themselves. So this is one of those newsletters that I actually do read from start to finish every week. And they have their own podcast that features stories from real women and news and health tips. And they also have guides that help support women in menstrual health and fertility and motherhood and perimenopause and menopause and breast and sexual health. So you're getting the idea here, right? All things that women are just starting to talk more and more about, which is fantastic. So I'm excited to welcome them back. And I've also got Grace Fuhr, who listeners may remember from last summer is the event organizer extraordinaire and the woman behind historic Milwaukee's Doors Open Milwaukee. So the three of these ladies together have combined forces to bring us one of the coolest dance parties in the city, I have to say, called Revel and Release. So I'm excited to talk all about that with them today, and also for you to hear how this is something that is not just happening in Milwaukee, but around the country, actually around the world. And who knows, maybe even near where you are. Hello, ladies. I am so excited to welcome you all back to the podcast. Rebecca and Theresa, you were some of the very first guests on season 1 of Cream City Dreams. And Grace, you were one of the last guests just last summer for Cream City Dreams. So you guys sort of bookended the previous pod. And I love that I can have you back on this new iteration of the pod, Gather, Connect, Create, because the three of you together have created a very cool way for women to gather and connect. And it's dancing. It's a dance party. Woo, woo. Organized by women, for women, DJ'd by women. And my favorite part is that it promises to have me in bed by 10:30 on a Friday night. I love that.
That's right.
Yes. Yep. Revel and Release. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you. Yay. And I want to talk all about what you have planned for the event coming up later this month in Milwaukee. But I'm also keen to talk about this sort of as a movement, because Milwaukee is not the only place that is having these dances. Is that right? Women across the country are organizing these?
It's global. What's been interesting as we've been building this is just the timing of all of that, that there was something in the air
Mm.
on a global scale. When we were looking into this, like who else is talking about this? Who else is doing this? We were pulling up articles that were citing France, Germany, England, just popping up all over, as well as in the US, on the West Coast and on the East Coast, and then Chicago. So women are asking for this. They're ready for it. So it's
Yes.
just all happening at the same beautiful, magical time.
I love that. So let's just talk about the origins of this in Milwaukee. I'm curious, and Rebecca and Theresa as Interwoven sponsoring this and beginning this. What gave you guys the impetus to start this? And then Grace, how did you get involved? And was there a need that you saw needed to be filled here?
Well, Megan, should I just jump in, you guys?
Yeah. I always say this was sort of Teresa's little seed nugget of like, yes, we need to do this.
Yes.
Yeah, it was really born out of self-interest, to be honest with you. I loved going dancing. I loved live music and going dancing. And then, my life hit this point with work and motherhood and just my tolerance for certain things like late nights and certain scenes were just not what they used to be.
Mm.
And I hit a point a few years ago where I realized I really missed that part of my life. I really missed just going out and dancing and not thinking about things for a while and just laughing and moving around with my girlfriends. And so I brought it to Rebecca and said, what do you think about us trying to do this? In addition to everything else we were doing with Interwoven. And she very kindly was like, I see this means a lot to you. Okay, let's just try it. And as soon as we did our first one, we were like, well, that was incredible. And also it was a lot of work.
Mm.
And I was having a conversation with this really awesome woman that's in my circles. And she said, I know this woman you need to talk to, like right now. She is full of the energy and ideas that you guys need to make this a sustainable thing because we want this. And that's how we met Grace.
Yay. Who is the event organizer extraordinaire in
Yes.
Milwaukee. Yes.
I think and so in parallel time this was last spring ultimately, I was reading about these pop-up women's clubs across the country and world, and also was like, man, we need this in Milwaukee. And I talked to a couple of friends of mine, the mutual friend that Theresa referenced, about it. And they were like, well, yeah, we actually just went to one of those like a week ago in Milwaukee. I'm like, great. I'm so glad that's happening here.
Yes.
Yeah. So fast forward a couple of weeks and we had a really awesome, just the first conversation we had on the phone. We all were like, yep, this is cool. We're going to do it and make it happen. And I think my background definitely, professionally event planning. Yes. But then also like personally, former raver, which is not really conducive to motherhood lifestyle.
What?
So also motivated by, my own need to still go out and dance and socialize as well. And I think back to, I went to Berlin, pre-kids, and we had the greatest time going out like at 6 p.m. because it's from Thursday till Sunday, 24/7. You can plug in at any moment and go to any number of clubs and dance. So we went out at like from 6 to 9 p.m. So I've thought for a long time, that's so great. Like it would be so cool if we could support that kind of culture in the US. And I think we're just kind of now catching up to that. And we're seeing it too. Now Milwaukee you can go dance with your kids during the day at like a pop-up club, and you can do like a coffee dancing. So there's a lot more opportunities around the clock, which is cool to see.
Yeah. Oh, golly. I did not know you could dance with your kids somewhere. Okay, we're going to have to talk about this later. You have to tell me where this is. I want to go to that too. So was the audience, because of where you are in life and what Interwoven is about and for women in midlife, was it always going to be geared toward midlife women, or is anybody welcome? What do you feel like the audience is?
Definitely anyone is welcome. I think that given sort of our demographic with the work that we do. Probably the majority of the women were between 30 and 50, I would say, right? I would say 3 dance parties already. Is that right? And we're heading into the 4th. And so I think as we are expanding reach and connecting with more people in the city, we are excited for that to grow and expand and be open for whoever wants to be there.
Well, and I love there was a disclaimer. I'm trying to remember where I read it, maybe on the site where you purchase the tickets, just about, everybody's welcome and we expect you to be kind and, in terms of who comes and how we treat people who come. And I wondered if you set those up front on purpose so that the women know kind of what kind of space they're walking into or dancing into.
Yeah, I mean, I think we want women to know that it's a safe space to just set down external expectations of them and to just wear what they want, move how they want, bring who they want, and just let go for a few hours, creating that safe space. I will say, with our last one, being at Mad Planet, an old stomping ground, I got my beverage and I set it down and I realized that I wasn't worried about it, that I could turn my back on my drink. I don't know if you would include that, but like that was I had this moment of like, I don't need to worry about turning away from my drink while I go dance for a minute.
Because it's just filled with a room of women who want to do the same thing. Wow. Yes.
They're just there to dance and have fun.
Yeah.
And hearing women sing from the dance floor is my life's joy. Just seeing heads thrown back and moving without calculation and just like singing along.
Yes. That freedom to just not worry about who's watching, who, how you're looking, how you're being perceived, the male gaze, those things that happen at a dance club on a typical. I mean, I say that as if I go out to dance clubs often on Friday nights. I don't. I'm in bed. Which is why I love your dance.
And there was a time and a place for that, that was fun, we went out when those hormones were flowing. And now there's a bit of a shift in that what's important to us when we go out and how we want to feel. So
yes.
For me at the last dance party too at Mad Planet, that was one of the things that really, after having done a couple other ones in a space where, at the end of the night, it just ended, where at Mad Planet, the doors are then, after 10 p.m. are open to the public, was seeing the difference in energy when it was sort of our group and then the doors were open and anyone could come in. Is just sort of the return of that male gaze and how the energy in the room shifted was super interesting. It made me like really excited to continue to like provide this space for women to move and be without having to think about that.
Yeah. Did a lot of women stay to then dance the night away, or did you feel that the group kind of started to make their way home?
It was interesting. It sort of shrunk. It was like energetically, it was, there were still women on the dance floor, but the energy that they took up got smaller, which was just an interesting thing to sort of witness. I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you feel that?
I did. Definitely.
Well, and I think mainly like some of the women that I knew left even before the party ended because they were like, no, I came for the early dance party, so I'm good. That's kind of the point.
Yeah.
I think the nice thing about Mad Planet is that you can stay, because what I find with these parties is that I'm like, well, I'm out, so I might as well stay out. So I kind of enjoy the fact that I'm like, well, I'm at a place that's going to continue the party and I can stay if I want to. I don't have to go home and go to bed. So it's kind of like you can, or you can continue the party if you want.
And it's nice that there's a choice, because ending at 10, you could go for another hour if you wanted.
Right.
Yeah. And jump in with the next DJ and just, yeah.
And I wanted just to mention too that it's it's a ladies' dance party, so it's inclusive of trans women, non-binary folks too. So we want to make it a safe space for all ladies.
Yes. For people who might be listening to this who aren't in Milwaukee and might think, oh, this is something that I could see happening or bringing to my city, what would be your sort of initial feeling out advice?
I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is just we've been really lucky with connecting with amazing venues.
Mm.
So I think, kind of the big pieces of the puzzle are venue and, of course, DJ, which Theresa and Grace are much more versed in the music scene. And so that's been really fun, is just to learn more about Milwaukee DJs and
Mm.
how talented they are. So that's been really cool to like see their style. So I think I would say like venues and DJs are kind of two of the bigger pieces of the puzzle. And we've, like I said, been lucky to have connected with venues that were excited to be a part of it. And yeah, we're kind of learning as we go too.
Yeah.
Women want to dance to songs that they recognize. Like this party attracts a demographic that's like, they want to request songs and they want to be able to sing along, like Theresa was mentioning. And it's very, very fun, but it's kind of like, so then you're picking a DJ who's open to doing that too.
That's a good point, because that would be key. Yeah. If you're only going to be out for a limited amount of time on a Friday night, it's got to be good music for sure.
Yeah.
And you have a price attached. Is that you have to pay the clubs? Do you provide food? What are the logistics on that end?
We pay the event space. So we basically were renting out Mad Planet. Mad Planet is typically a club that charges a cover, and they normally don't open till like 9 p.m. and they're open till bar close. So we work with them to open up earlier, so they have to pay their staff to be there earlier. And then we are also compensating the DJ at a market rate for their time. So it's offsetting the costs and expenses associated with putting on an event like this.
And then also there's some of the other smaller expenses from advertising and the fees that are associated with selling tickets online, or even just having someone to work the door, right? Those are some of the little things that you realize like, oh, all of those pieces sort of add up too.
If you get a food truck or any other additional special features or add-ons are all, cost considerations. And, our time and energy too. It does take time and it does take energy. We just make sure that we can cover our costs and take care of the people that are involved in making the event happen. So,
and we did have food at the first one, and that was so lovely. And also, we decided kind of with the subsequent ones to sort of simplify a little bit, both from a planning perspective and also it didn't seem as though, I think we had the first event from 7 to 10, and I think people came ready to dance. And so we wanted to make sure if we were going to have food vendors that it was worth their time and effort to be there financially. And it just didn't seem as though that was the case. Most people came, they had eaten already, and they were sort of ready to dance. So that's one of the reasons why we decided to hold off going, with the dance parties moving forward.
Yeah, that's interesting. That was going to be one of my questions was, are there things that perhaps you thought it was going to be and then it turned out to be, or like lessons that you've learned along the way, things that mattered that actually didn't end up mattering to you by dance 3?
Yeah, that was definitely one of them. And just figuring out how we wanted to do this so that we could maximize our efforts and sort of streamline the process, which is why Mad Planet became an ideal location for us to continue on, at least for this next one. It's a venue that's like ready to go. It's basically plug and play. At the end of the day, we just want to make these nights happen for women to get out and go dancing without overcomplicating. So that's what we're attempting to do as we move forward.
Yes. Yeah. And if I'm a woman listening to this and I think, oh, I love to dance, but I don't know anybody who would go with me. I'd really like to go, but I'm nervous about going by myself. How would you reassure that woman or me?
It's a great place to show up. You can make friends. I think at the last party I had a couple of friends, but not maybe like my closest buddies, right, who I would be used to dancing with. And I just felt it really didn't matter. And I think to the point of like the male gaze or the kind of the awkwardness of going to a club by yourself generally, you don't have all that awkwardness. And literally, like, you walk up to the bar and there's women just talking to each other who are meeting for the first time. And so it's an opportunity to make new connections and new friends. And in Milwaukee and probably a lot of mid-sized cities, we are like, oh, small Milwaukee, we already know all the people that we know, but there's still so many people to meet. And so Rebecca, Theresa, and I each kind of have different Venn diagrams in our communities, and each person that arrives maybe brings a friend. So I think it's really unique because it is a cool place to just come as you are, solo if you want to, bring your pals if you want to, but either way, you're going to have a good time.
And you wouldn't be the first person to do it, because we've already had women show up solo and just hit the dance floor and meet women. Like, we've seen this happen in real time. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So is there any sort of, when they arrive, icebreaker is the wrong word for a dance party, but because I think the dancing probably is the icebreaker, but anything that can, anybody at the door who's pointing them towards introductions or anything like that? Or
we have had sort of one of us or someone else at the door sort of greeting people. And then with each dance party, we've also done a giveaway to support a local Milwaukee organization. And so usually that person is sort of greeting them and giving them information about the organization and the giveaway if they want to donate and sign up. Oftentimes we have like a hotel stay or some sort of lovely giveaway that we're doing kind of in addition to support an organization. So and then, if needed, then sort of a little lay of the land. And then the staff usually takes over from there with beverages or whatever it is people want, and they find the dance floor.
Yes. All right. Well, let's talk specifics now. So the next one, it's called Revel and Release. They're all called Revel and Release because that is what we need to do as midlife women. Tell us about the logistics. When is it? Where is it? Well, we know what we've talked about where it is, but when is it? What time? All the deets. Who are you supporting this time, if you know that already?
So the next one is going to be Friday, January 30th at Mad Planet. This one's 7 to 10. And we are supporting the local group HAWA, the Among American Women's Association. So we're supporting this time.
Nice. How did you choose them?
We do some thoughtful research. We look around the area and find organizations that have been, doing the good work, primarily, if we can, supporting women, women's health, LGBTQ community, youth, and particularly if someone hasn't received, a substantial grant recently, they could just use a little spotlight. That's who we're looking for.
Nice.
DJ will be DJ Lolo, and she's a really awesome DJ about town and also amazing, like, professional woman in Milwaukee.
This is Lauren Feaster, right?
Lauren Feaster.
Yeah, she was also on the pod. Yeah, I remember. Actually, I think we talked about this idea. I was like, could you ever do a dance for women early in the night? And then boom, here it is. I love it.
She hosted the last one with us too, so it'll be good to have her again. And she'll be there from 7 to 9 p.m. And then from 9 to 10 p.m. will be DJ Don Black, who is he's like one of the resident DJs at Mad Planet. And he'll be doing full request. So anything that women want to hear, he will be playing for them.
Nice. Maybe the only male in the club.
And maybe one of the bartenders. We also have a door guy who's great. Nice. Oh, well, I am excited. And I will put links to how people can buy tickets because tickets are on sale now. Yes.
I'll put that in the show notes. I'm curious, just as sort of closing this kind of two questions, what keeps you saying yes to creating these events? Why keep going with them? And then what are you hoping that the women take away from the dance floor that night?
Why we keep saying yes?
Because we're crazy.
Yeah.
That is part one. Part two, it would be because every time we wrap up a dance party, there are days, weeks after that we hear back from women who weren't able to make it, who say, please have another one. I really want to go do this. Or women that were able to go and say, I'm so glad you guys are doing this. Please do another one. So it's, yeah, it's hard to say no. And I love it. And I love that I get to go dance. So then that's part three.
Yes.
Theresa said it perfectly.
Yeah.
So now, sign up, come dance.
Yes.
I think one of, I guess maybe I'll add, maybe this is part of both questions, but I think that sort of just the mental health component. I know that there are, just dancing and connecting with other women and making yourself and fun a priority is so important right now. And I think if we don't plan and put it on the calendar, oftentimes as moms and as women in this stage of life, it doesn't happen. And so, really thinking about joy as part of your mental health and a priority, and whether that's dancing or whatever it looks like for you. But so I think that's how I think it really weaves into the work that we do with Interwoven, is just that joy and moving your body and all of these pieces are a part of that puzzle. So that's part of, I think, the motivation to keep it going too, and why it feels like it aligns with the other work that we do, because it sometimes might feel like it's a really strange offshoot, but in the scheme of things, I think that it does really, it's all part of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know that it feels like an offshoot at all. I feel like it's exactly what your mission is for women's awareness of themselves and their priorities and their health and their mental health and all the things. In fact, you both have a new space as of just last fall. Is that right? Do you want to just take a minute to plug your new spot?
Yeah. So we are now have a clinic in Bayview here in Milwaukee. So Theresa and I have both been practicing sort of independently, myself as an acupuncturist and women's health acupuncturist, fertility, motherhood, menopause, hormonal health. And Theresa has been doing matrescence and motherhood work and doula work, hysterectomy doula support. And we decided to just kind of put it all under the umbrella. And so we now have a space that we get to work in together and be not just sort of working on Interwoven from our houses and computers, but actually be in person together and working with women, which has been really incredible.
Yeah, congratulations to you both for that. That's exciting. That's really exciting. And then to share that with us on the dance floor, on these, are we trying to make them quarterly? Is that the idea? Monthly? Maybe?
I don't know if we've got that. We'll see. We'll see how 2026 unfolds. I don't know how you ladies feel about this, but part of me also welcomes other venues around town, women, to look at this as an opportunity to open up more spaces for this to happen. So I think getting this started was just also an opportunity to show that this specific demographic is looking for something that isn't there yet. And there's a real opportunity.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming to chat with me about this. Like I said, I'll put this in the show notes so that women and women identifying folks can find how to get there, to get their tickets. And I actually have a text chain of some women friends who I love, and we just call it dance, dance, dance. And so anytime there's an opportunity to dance, somebody shoots out the message of should we do it? Let's go. So it's already out on our strand. Hopefully a few of us are going to be there. And I'm looking forward to it. So see you on the dance floor.
We'll see you there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Milwaukee ladies, get on over to the Eventbrite link, which I'll put in the show notes, and get your tickets. And we'll see you on the dance floor on Friday, January 30th. I hope to see lots of listeners there. But if you're not in Milwaukee, I hope that this gave you an idea of something that you might be able to do in your neck of the woods. Maybe a city close to you has this if yours doesn't, and you can check it out to see how they've done it. Or just think about what you could do in your own city. What are the venues that are good to go, preset, that might not open on a Friday night until 9:30 or 10? Could you talk them into 2 extra hours, opening their doors at 7 so that you could come and dance with unadulterated, unfiltered joy? I highly, highly recommend it. I think it takes a little bit to get off the ground. As we heard, it does take work on the back end. But once you develop those relationships, maybe people begin to look forward to it. DJs begin to say yes to it and ask for it. Then I think they maybe start to run themselves a little bit more than the first couple times you might try this. So if you have a love and a passion for dancing, if you want to bring people together, maybe think about it, especially in these times that are so, I don't even know what the word for these times are anymore, but where sometimes it feels like we shouldn't allow ourselves joy, or the world is too hard to let in this kind of light and fun and revelry. That is maybe when we need this most. So shout out to Rebecca and Grace and Theresa for getting this event off the ground and keeping it running so that women around Milwaukee can gather and connect and dance. And I hope wherever you're listening to this from, you can find an opportunity to do the same. I want to remind listeners that if you are local, there is another opportunity to gather and connect this weekend, Sunday, January 25th. If you're listening to this in real time, a super cool opportunity called Gathering for Good, hosted by Maggie Jose of This Is the Real Good Life. She is a soon-to-be cookbook author and a yoga teacher, and so she is combining those two passions for a 2-hour class that is part yoga, 45 minutes of yoga, a little bit of meditation, and then tasting some of the recipes that are going into her cookbook. So you will be nourished in all senses of the word, and you can find tickets to that on her website, thisistherealgoodlife.com. And what's really cool about this event is that most of the proceeds from the ticket sales go to Food Right. I interviewed Food Right's executive director, Lisa Kingery, on Cream City Dreams. And if you'll remember, this is a nonprofit that helps kids make healthy food choices. They teach them how to cook, how to grow vegetables, and how to enjoy them. So another reason to come out for some yoga. I'll put links to that in the show notes as well. And I hope to see you at either of these next 2 events. And if you are local, I've got a lot more events for women who want to gather. But of course, I don't want to bombard everybody with all of these Milwaukee-based events if you're not local. So make sure you're on my newsletter, and more specifically on the local newsletter. I've got 2. All right, friends, I will be back next week with another episode of Gather, Connect, Create. Until then, remember that this is a practice, not something where we're aiming for perfection, just aiming to get better at it so we do it more often in community together. See you next week.